Well, what's up, everybody? I'm back with Alpha Villains. It's been a while. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, Rob, thanks for having me. Yo, man, it has been a while, man, but I'm glad you kind of got me out of retirement, man. Coming on your show, man, has really kind of inspired me to get back and doing my content. Guys, make sure you guys check out my YouTube channel at Alpha Villains and on Instagram at Alpha Villains.
Yeah, guys, and be sure to check him out. This, as you will see during this conversation, Alpha Villains is just very in depth with his discussions. I have a lot of my viewers actually comment, and they're like, they say he's like, they like everyone else, but they like Alpha Villains the best because he's
That's
just
what's up.
very in
I
depth and
appreciate that.
detailed oriented in his way of communication. So,
That's what's up.
rock on. So today we're gonna break this into two segments. We're gonna first talk about the topic related to mindfulness, and then for the guy viewers, for the second upload, we're gonna talk about like a subject of how to get girls or whatever the hell comes up. So
Cool.
yeah, I want to start out with like, okay, so let's talk, something. Okay, overcoming self-doubt, because like a lot, doubt seems to get in the way when we are trying to build a business, when we're trying to make a change in our life, when we're trying, especially for guys, if they want to go meet attractive women, because like we have the outside world and our the way we were conditioned that is keep building that doubt. And so how do we break out of that doubt so we can kick ass?
It's man, it's easier said than done. A
I
lot of
know.
people on YouTube, man, they'll tell you, flip on a light switch or just you got to get out there and think. If it was that easy, there would be no insecurities. I think self doubt is something that is very necessary for guys to experience and go through because we always have to question the things that we do. Not only are we always scrutinized as men, but there's always going to be some type of end result that we are required to deliver, right? So for
Right.
men, women can live off delusion, right? Men have to live off results. So a lot of times, doing our best may not necessarily be good enough. And in the real world, when it comes to masculinity, it's results, not effort. So a lot of us get in our head about the results. We need money. We need to be 6 feet tall. We need to have six pack abs. All of the things, all the narratives that were given to us on TV, social media, and women. So the first thing that I would do in terms of eliminating self doubt is kind of turning off the noise, blocking all the white noise, blocking out all the societal narratives that are put on us, and understand that men are individuals. We're not all built the same. We don't all look the same. We don't all come from different backgrounds. But the things that we do have in common as men is that society was not only built on our back, but it is expected for us to continue the progression of society. So the first thing you got to do is block out all the noise, take a digital detox, and really kind of identify who you want to be. Now, in order for you to determine your future, you kind of have to understand your past and you have to kind of understand where you are in the present.
Right.
Very important. So, understanding your past, where do you come from? Is there any trauma? Were you with a single mom? Did you have a good relationship with your father? All of those things, you got to take a deep dive within yourself and kind of backtrack some of the things that you are experiencing right now. Once you've identified that, then you can kind of make different incremental advances in the things that you feel that will determine you to become a better man. Not what society tells you, but what you determine as valuable, what you determine as important to be and contribute to a partner.
Right, exactly. So yeah, and I agree with you. You got to take the time to figure yourself out. I mean, and on top of that, like, I mean, you got to go out there and take the action to achieve whatever it is you want to do,
Mhm.
and realize that not get frustrated with the result. I mean, we were just talking about this before. That's a hard thing because we were just talking about this before the call here. When I just when you're going out there and you're having all this success, trying to create success for yourself, and yet when it doesn't happen, you begin to doubt yourself. You get thrown back into your own mindset. Like, and I was telling you about that too. Sometimes when I go out there and interact with women and I didn't get a phone number, I got rejected, I kind of didn't, it kind of shut down that belief. And what I realized is I was just having that attachment to that external event. I needed that to validate, who I was.
Precisely.
And I learned to come to terms with this. You just gotta accept the situation for what it is. And you don't, and it's because the fact that you went out there and you took the action, even though you felt the anxiety and the pressure, and even though it didn't work out, you can still boost your confidence for that, because went out there, you got the experience rather
Right.
than just sitting on your ass just daydreaming. Because most people, like, they'll let that fear hold them back and they won't take the action, and like they'll just keep on repeating that same negative pattern.
Right.
And you got to snap out of that. And the fact that you went out there and you had talked with that woman, and like it didn't work out, hey, you broke out of your negative pattern. And the more you go out there and put yourself out there, the more you're going to increase your chances of actually getting a number. And
Precisely.
that applies to everything else, even when you're starting a business.
Precisely. And you said something very important in terms of pattern. Break the pattern. I just said a few minutes ago, in order to determine your future, you kind of have to understand your present. So, breaking the pattern, breaking the fear, is something that you can do by learning from what transpired. So, you didn't get the result, you didn't get the number. Why? The more you learn about in your present, the more you're going to determine your future, right? So,
Mhm.
breaking the pattern, every experience, there's a lesson in it, right? There's more lessons in the loss than the win, but there's a lesson in everything. When you have your mind clear, you block out all the toxins, you block out all the people, you try to avoid copes, weed, drinking. We all do it sometimes, but when you really get your mind clear and focused, you get to see some of the things that you may have overlooked and some of the things that you continuously do with unbeknownst to you. You could still be talking to the same broad, you're wearing a different shirt, you're trying a different line, but
Mhm.
there's one little thing that you keep doing that's messing you up. So instead of going, on and on, identifying and analyzing what you did will really help you learn that this is something that I keep doing, that if I stop doing, maybe I'll get a different result. So
Yeah,
that's
and
part of breaking the pattern.
I like that, and that comes back to the awareness too. Like we were
Boom.
talking about, having awareness of what it is you're doing wrong. Because I think, like, when you're caught on, when you're in your head and stuff, you're not really paying attention to the situation. Even if you're in your head in the situation, after the situation is done with, take a moment to reflect upon, like, okay, how you were acting, what you were
Boom.
saying, and read, and then find a new strategy for next time, rather
Precisely.
than repeating that. Because if you don't have that awareness of that pattern that may be holding you back, you can just you're just going to keep on doing the same thing and repeating the same mistake. But when you have that awareness, like, that's really going to give you the insight to do it differently and see if that works, and you just kind of tweak it from there, and eventually it will work.
And one more thing, pardon me. This is very important. Breaking the pattern. You know, as you have and develop awareness as a man, you're going to start to, uh, you know, find yourself a lot lonelier, quote unquote, right? A little bit more by yourself, a little bit more awkward in the masses, because most people are sheep. They don't understand the importance of awareness. So if you are taking it upon yourself, you're listening to Rob's show, you're subscribed to his channel, you're listening to this message, you got to understand, during that process of awareness, there's going to come a lot of peaks and valleys. You may have to cut off your family for a little bit. You might have to cut off your friends. You might have to do things differently in order for you to get the clarity that you need. And once you get to a point of clarity, you decide to go and circle back to family. You decide to circle back and hang out with friends. You're going to start to see how different they are versus who you are. And I think that's a very important thing too, because we cannot rely on other people to save us. You have to save yourself. And the first order of business of saving yourself is determining what you want and what you're willing to do to get what you want. That's the key. Because if you're not willing to do what it takes to get what you want, you're just going to be continuously chasing your tail.
Right. No, that's the truth, man. Like, I mean, you gotta. I mean, I like the whole thing about being self-reliant, because, like, that's one of the things. When I got out of my last relationship and finally moved on my own, I had to learn how to be self-reliant. Not just, so if something came up, I had to figure out how I was going to do it. I didn't want to become too dependent on other people.
Right.
Because I mean, when you become dependent on other people and they disappoint you, like, or can't follow through, and then you're going to be stuck and don't know what to do, and you're going to be
Precisely.
frustrated. So it's good to develop that, be self-reliant and to kind of learn to get through situations on your own. Take the initiative yourself, even when you're hiring a mentor to help you out. I mean, he can give you the push, but in the end, you got to push yourself to go do
That's
it.
it.
You know,
Absolutely.
even though you don't feel like doing what it is you want to do, if you don't feel like talking to that girl, you don't feel like putting time into your business, you're tired, you're exhausted, you got to be committed to that and not let go. And that's hard sometimes, but you got to.
Mm, very important what you said, commitment, because, and you mentioned coach, right? So
Yeah.
commitment, part of commitment is an ongoing thing. When you talk about relationships and commitment, relationships go up and down for better or for worse, right? You're committing to this relationship. If you are committing to becoming a better man, that means day in and day out, when you don't feel like going to the gym, you don't feel like you don't have the time, but at least you're getting 30 minutes in there. Commitment means not only just hiring the mentor, taking notes, and when the mentor session is over, you're actually applying shit that you learned from the fucking mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Commitment means that if you got a 9 to 5 and you have dreams and aspirations to be your own boss, your 9 to 5 and your business you're doing together. That's a commitment. That's an everyday thing. Sometimes we don't feel like doing the things that we have to do. But that's the difference between champions and losers. That's the difference between the people in the bench and the bleachers and the people who are on the field. That's the difference between the guys that you want to hate on because they did the work and you're watching them on YouTube versus the guys who aren't doing the work. So commitment doesn't mean just putting yourself in there or getting a gym
Mm-hmm.
membership. Commitment means getting the gym membership, going every day, watching what you eat. It's an ongoing thing. So this is why we don't have the luxury as men to be pretty. We don't have the luxury to wear heels, push-up bras, makeup, wigs, and shit like that. All we have is a slab that we were given, and we have to chisel that shit, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
physically, mentally, financially. We have to build ourselves. And this is why when you do build yourself and you've achieved something, this is why we ultimately say that men are the prize, because we had to go through all these channels to do the thing and become what you see in front of you. So it's very important, man. Commitment is something that you have to give yourself if you love yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. And I realize, what I realized too, like when you don't stay committed, like to what it is you're doing, you kind of lose part of your confidence that you're building because you're like kind of going
Mm,
off your
right.
path, your square,
Mhm.
and you got to be able to pick yourself up and just, hey, just try again the next day. But like, no, when you can stay committed to something and actually follow through, whether it be approaching that girl, doing a YouTube show, live show, working, going to the gym,
Right.
or just like doing whatever, like you're gonna feel better about yourself,
Mhm.
because you actually went out there and did it. Like
Precisely.
even if it wasn't all, you didn't give it your all or it didn't go right, you're still gonna feel like
Accomplished.
yeah, accomplished, yeah. And I think when you do that, like when you take the action, like I mean, I realize too, when I don't do shit, I don't follow through, I get down on myself. But when I do commit to what I'm doing, I feel good, and it
Boom.
just gets me in this state of flow.
That's it, baby. Gotta flow. You gotta flow, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing too, real quick, when you set, and like you said, just to kind of piggyback on what you said really quickly, which is important. You said when you don't follow through or you don't accomplish something that you set out to do, you kind of get down on yourself. But when you write a list, a to do, it's as simple as a to do list every day, guys. If you have some type of structure, the most successful people have structures. The fittest guys, the guys who are the most fit, eat the same shit every day. So
Hmm.
the commonalities are there's structure to it, right? So you have to have some type of structure. So if you give yourself something that you should be doing, that you got to do every day, 3 things that you got to do every day, and you do it 1 week down, and you've done it every day for 7 days, your confidence is going to go up because you were able to set out some goals that were going to make you better. And then now you can put more things on your plate. So now when you look back, you were doing the same thing, you were disciplined for a month. How many pounds did you lose? How much money did you save? How many numbers did you get? How many dates did you go on? It's all of those things. When you look back, you're like, damn, my confidence is up because I put in the work. That's the most important part.
Right, exactly. No, that's true. I mean, and then you get you put in the work, and like I said, you're experiencing whatever it is you're experiencing. You're learning from that, and because of that, you're becoming a better person.
Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. So that's so true. So yeah, you got to stay. I think this like importance with the self doubt and stuff like just kind of you just when you find yourself in that situation, you said to be aware of that when it's coming up. Like you mentioned, dive into your past, what's causing that, and challenge that. You got sometimes you get maybe most guys see this content about like how some of these YouTubers will talk bad about women and everything. And they might, make them judge a woman. They'd be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to that girl, but they go, they can challenge that belief by actually going out there and taking the action.
Very important. And it all circles back to not being self-reliant, not turning off the noise, the white noise, the other content creators that you subscribe to that you've been riding with for years. Maybe they coached you in the past, but you have to individualize yourself in order to get the individual results that you want. It's easy for guys, content creators who are behind the microphone, who are good with girls. They got one girl, they're married, whatever it is. You got to take those things and apply to yourself that's going to work for you. So you want to improve, turn off the noise, unsubscribe to all the guys that have kind of been making you run around and chase your tail, and then start taking the steps, start to see the things that you actually can remember and apply and see what works and what doesn't work. Don't listen to people. Do things more for yourself, and then you can kind of circle back, and then you'll see how much you've grown and how much you necessarily need that person, or you may not need them at all.
Right, exactly. No, and it's okay to like kind of take advice from others, but sometimes it's
Of
best
course.
just so challenge that advice too. Is this the right way to go about it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Challenge that. And
Precisely.
you may find that that what you decided to do that was your own natural that came from your own natural essence was the right thing rather than listen to because
Boom.
that's the other person's personality and authenticity right there. And yes, they can give you, and it's good to take the advice, but I can say like it's all sometimes good to challenge that.
1000%, bro. 1000%.
Rock on. So, any closing thoughts before we go into the subject
No, man.
about
I think
women?
Nah, man. I just think that it all starts with you. Like you said, it's okay to listen. We've all listened to people. We've all been inspired. Coaching is an important part of committing to yourself, but you also owe yourself to take the training wheels off and to kind of see what will work for you and what won't. So that's the most important thing.
I like that. Sounds good. So yes, and don't forget, guys, check out Alpha Villain's YouTube channel and let them know how they can find you on YouTube and on Instagram, and if you have a
Yes,
website.
absolutely, Rob. Thanks for having me on, man. Just make sure you guys check out my YouTube channel at Alpha Villains. Go to my Instagram at Alpha Villains and check out my book, www.stopcompromise.com, Masculine Compromise, The Journey of Emasculation to Emancipation, available on Amazon.com.
Rock on. Okay, so now we want to talk to you about a topic pertaining to women. So I think what I want to talk about here is that most men, why is it that most men can't be authentic with a woman? Because you hear stuff about how women want to meet a natural guy, but yet these guys like kind of absorb everything they see from the TV and hear. What do you think the problem is here?
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Why do men have a hard time being authentic with women? Because I don't think authentic is popular. I think authentic is taboo. Unfortunately, we live in a society now, and I'm kind of sound old now, but this is important. We live in a society now where trends, TikTok trends, social media trends, Instagram trends, etc., are the thing to do. And when you decide to take a stand and you decide to individualize yourself, you decide not to wear the things that everybody's wearing, you decide to do the things that not everybody's doing, You're ousting yourself. In the past, before social media, being the black sheep was cool, mysterious. But now we live in a digital age where everybody transparency, fake transparency is important. Men are struggling with authenticity because when we look at it on social media, they're seeing that the guys who are getting the most traffic, the most likes, or the most acknowledgement from women are guys doing the challenges with their girls, the guys that are spending money on bottles, the guys that are doing all the things that the guys on social media are doing to bait the women. At the end of the day, you got to see what you want out of life. This is what I think.
Hmm.
If you want if you want frivolous, meaningless relationships, not just sex, meaningless relationships, you're going to have to fall in line with the sheep. But if you want something that's going to be substantial, and I'm not talking about marriage and shit, I'm just talking about something that you can have of substance, a relationship of substance, you have to find a woman who's going to appreciate your authenticity. Now, that's like a needle in a haystack, but at the end of the day, women nowadays are more superficial than anything else. So, in order for a man to be authentic in this present time, it's hard for you to be authentic and get the traffic that you need from all these women when they're living in a virtual world where authenticity isn't appreciated. So that's the biggest struggle for men in my view right now.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. So they see all that, and it kind of keeps them from being authentic because they have to live up to. They feel they got to be someone who they are not, just to like get the women that they want, rather than just say it how it is. And no, I get that. Like, sometimes, yeah, being authentic, being different does kind of, it's not, as popular as it was before. But I still believe that there is, like, once you have an understanding of who you are, and it's not based off, like, what society expects out of you, or programming, I should say. I do think that, in the end, though, it makes you more confident in yourself, and
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely. Mhm.
you can, kind of project, your own character that is attractive toward, with the women, like your own personality, I should say.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 1,000%. When I answered the question, I was talking on a larger scale in terms of
Right.
traffic. But I think what you're saying is extremely important. Authenticity is something that is important to each of us. We're all authentic in a particular way, but a lot of us tend to emulate different people because we're seeing the fruits of their labor. We don't know the backstory. But I think as a man, when you're authentic, when you're at peace, you've turned off the white noise, you're at peace, right? So you're at peace, and now you're going to start to attract people who appreciate their authenticity. You're going to attract people who are going to appreciate you for who you are and what you can do. They're going to see past the bullshit. You're going to appreciate, you might attract somebody who's authentic in her own right. Authenticity in 2024, man, is tough.
Hmm.
Is tough. Now, some, game guys, game content creators may call that shit hogwash. But here's what I say. At the end of the day, authenticity, if you are a man, masculine man, doesn't mean that you got to have tattoos and a beard, but you're just a masculine, you're confident, you stand upright, you know how to speak, you understand that you're a man, and other people are, the opposite sex. You're authentic by default because most men kind of don't know what they're doing. Most men are emulating feminine traits because they are applying what they find attractive in women to themselves just so they can get on their good side, or a lot of them are just not liking women at all. So at the end of the day, authenticity is tough for men right now who don't know who they are. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know where you stand. And a lot of times I find that when it comes to women, men don't want to be authentic because being authentic is not going to get them as much volume with women as they would when you are authentic, where you're going to get better quality of women. So it's really up to you. Do you want quality or do you want quantity? If you want quantity, it for the most part, rarely will your authenticity help you for volume.
Right.
This is my view. Anybody could disagree with it. That's fine. In this day and age, 2024, with all the shit that's going on, all the gadgets, your authenticity, being confident, all that shit will help you. But it's going to be, you will be drowned out by all the simps and all the thirsty guys that are going to be willing to do all the silly shit that women want to do. So by the time they appreciate your authenticity, you're not going to get the volume that you want. So this is why it's important that when you make a choice as a man, are you going to choose to be authentic and focus on yourself? So when the right women come around you, you're going to have a better relationship, or are you going to just not focus on yourself and try to fit in with the sheep? This is the choice that most men have a trouble with right now.
Right, exactly. No, so that's just a decision on them. They if they want to kind of find that good quality of girl, then yeah, authentic. It's best to be authentic so you can screen for the right woman and everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just learning. I think another good thing that I've been reading up a lot on Stoicism lately. And they always say they have this one just like just go with the flow, don't have attachments to anything. And I think like that too, just when you go into a situation without attachments and stuff, and you can learn to discipline yourself that way. Like I see it. I think you bring out your best self, like when you're communicating with a woman, and it's up to her to figure out, because of all that, like you said, the Sims, But I don't really like. I don't know. Yeah, I got frustrated about that too because I'm like I'm authentic, and all these other guys are just simping, buying gifts and bottles, whatever, for girls. But there comes to me like I just learned to stop caring about it, and it is what it is. I guess it's because I got a lot going on right now, so it's like I'm focusing on me, and I think that's it helps that with that a lot more.
Yeah, I'm an older man, guys. I'm an older guy. I'm a middle-aged guy. I've been through some shit. And for me, it, as a man on the microphone, I feel like I have a responsibility to talk to you about things that I no longer find valuable. When I first got into this shit, I used to try to resonate and try to empathize and try to put myself in your shoes. And even though the game has changed, men should not have to change. But, in order for men, when we're talking about authenticity, men are changing because they want to try to fit in and get in where they fit in. So
Hmm.
it's tough for you guys. But when, I can sit here as an older man and say, being authentic is playing the long game. And it is. It is playing the long game for your finances, your mental, your peace of mind, and better quality of women. But guys want to get laid now. Guys want numbers now. Guys want to fuck now. And I totally understand that. But if you're not necessarily as good with game, you don't have knowledge of self, you're going to have to resort to doing dumb shit to get noticed. And this is
Hmm.
the
Right.
disconnect. This is the disconnect. So you got to get noticed, right? So you got to do the peacocking thing, and not necessarily in a good way. You're doing the female challenges, or you're doing the filters. You're doing something that so girls can kind of post you and share you. And this is the problem with guys. So in this content creator male improvement space, there's guys who want you to just focus on your game and your mindset, and there's other guys who just want you to try to get all the trinkets and all the money, the clout, and all that shit to get into with women. For me, I think there's got to be a balance there. If you're a younger guy and you really want to try to, the only thing that I would suggest that guys do is to continue to focus on yourself. You said you got a lot going on. I got a lot going on. My numbers aren't as great as they used to be, but you know what? Like you said, I just stopped caring. I just
Hmm.
stopped caring, and stopped caring. I took away the energy that I was applying from my frustration. I started caring more about the things that I wanted that will get me more results later on. My
I
business.
like that. That's good. Yeah, you got to
That's the shit. It's the
shift your
shift.
energy.
It's just the
Yeah.
shift, Like, cause listen, when guys aren't doing well with women, they get frustrated. They just stop caring, right? So then they kind of get into a zone where they start to hate women. But for guys who have a lot of things going on, when we stop caring, we just take that energy and we apply it to things that we do still care about. Our businesses, our health, our dog, whatever the hell that you have that that's going to give you a better return on your time and an investment. Now, in that process, when women come across you or you do decide to go out and just decide to get up with women, you go hunting, some will be receptive, some of them won't. But at the end of the day, authenticity at the end of it all will always trump what you're trying to do to be noticed. Because when you're trying to be noticed, you're just one of many. But when you're authentic, you're actually authentic, and you would
I
see
like
more.
that because you mentioned when you mentioned when you're trying to be noticed, like you're going to be, people are going to sense that you're trying, and they're
Right.
going to just take advantage of that. But when
Right.
you're not trying, it's like totally different. It's like it's
Right.
authentic right there, and that's
That's
kind of
right.
what I mean by this. Like, because it's like giving up the act of trying to be someone, just to impress someone, because they can sense when you're bullshitting. I mean, especially women, if you're trying to talk to women, they know when you're a bullshitter. If you're trying, if your personality is fake, so why fake
Right.
it?
Right.
But
Right. Right.
most guys will do that because they lack the confidence in themselves. They don't have the awareness of themselves, because so they think they got to be someone else, and then they end up in the same situation.
Yes, guys, you need to listen to this. I know that you would rather see women on a podcast getting kicked out or getting disrespected, but this is real conversations from two adults, older men who've been through some shit. And eventually, you younger guys, you're going to get to our age, right? And these are conversations that I wish I had when I was your age, that I was paying attention to. So this is something that's very important. Give yourself a chance and listen to content that's going to kind of save you some time, not live in the moment. If you want a better life, a longer, fruitful, more enjoyable life, you have to start focusing on who you are and who you want to be, not what social media is telling you you should be, not what a dating coach is telling you you should be, not what a bitch is telling you what you should be. You determine who you want to be. And then once you are steadfast in who you want to be, you're going to start to attract and draw people to you who appreciate who you are. You don't have to go to South America to be treated like a fucking king. You can be in Arizona, you could be in Miami, wherever you decide to plant your flag. Be yourself, be authentic. It's not going to be easy, but you will reap the rewards if you stand and commit to yourself.
Damn, I like that. Well, that's a great way to conclude this topic, man. I didn't even have to ask for a conclusion. You were being so, you see, you just came to you naturally
Yeah,
and
thank you
everything.
for that. Yeah, man. Well, because you and I talk about this a lot. We've talked about it off camera. These are real things that guys struggle with. Hell, we struggle with it, right? But it's conversations like this. It's opportunities to talk, and we really want you guys to embrace life for what it is. It's not easy, but you can get through it, man, as long as you turn off all the distractions and you really just focus on who you want to be. Stop caring about people who don't care about you. The people on social media, they don't care about you. Stop trying to be one of many. Be authentic, and you'll have better life and better results.
Well, rock on. And where can my viewers find you, Alpha Villains?
Guys, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Alpha Villains. Go to my Instagram at Alpha Villains as well, and check out my new book on Amazon.com called Masculine Compromise: The Journey of Emasculation to Your Emancipation.
Well, rock on. Well, thank you very much for coming on to the show and everything. Rock on. And then everyone, be sure to check out my website, commandyourconfidence.com, or find me on Instagram at commandconfidence. If you go to the website, you got the ebook that's for sale, and you get coaching. So
Nice.
until next time, rock on, continue to level up and kick ass in life, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.